Welcome to the Next Step Recovery podcast. We call this More Than Recovery because addiction is so much more than just getting clean from our addictions, our strongholds. It's really finding our purpose in life, and that's what we're here for each and every day. I like to say that we have three purposes here at the Next Step Recovery podcast. The first purpose is to encourage people, to encourage those who are struggling in their addiction, or just in life. It doesn't have to be an addiction. It could be anything. So we want to encourage you. Number two, we want to educate you. We want to help you help other people. We want to help you help others. And then finally, we want to expand our reach. We want to expand our impact. We want to expand our partners. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to a great show. Hey, welcome. Welcome to the More Than Recovery podcast. Today, I have a good friend of mine, Jesse Kinney. Jesse, I'm going to give you a minute to say hello. A little uncomfortable probably first time doing this, but get you used to the microphone, and we'll talk here just a little bit about your life. Okay. And so you're Jesse Kinney. Tell us, where are you from, Jesse?
I'm from Byron, Georgia. Okay. Went to Peach County High School.
Grew up around here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. My life's been kind of a whirlwind, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
we'll talk about that. No, we're glad you're here today. And Jesse is a graduate of Next Step Recovery Ministries, our men's home. Still there. He graduated. You came to us a year ago, November. So it would have been November of 22.
Yeah.
That's correct. November of 2022, Jesse came to Next Step. Spent a little time in prison. We'll get into that story though, but came to us, graduated in December of 23, and then is still with us in our transition home and working. Got a great job, and I think they love him at work. I know everybody I talk to there says they really appreciate just how hard you work and just your attitude. And I appreciate you taking time off this morning to get with us, Jesse.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Jesse, tell me, you're from Byron, Georgia. How old are you?
32 years old.
32 years old, spent some time in prison. Tell me about that. Tell me about that.
Okay, so, when we are in our addictions, no method of getting it is untouchable for us.
Nothing's out of bounds.
No, and that's what I'm trying to say. I ended up stealing a good sum of money, and spent 3 years in prison for it. And I tried to get a next step while I was in jail, and the judge was like, "No, I think you're going to do this time."
Yeah.
And I really needed that though.
Peach County? Was that Peach County, Bibb County?
It was Peach County Jail.
Okay. If you're not from Georgia, understand Peach County, Bibb County, Houston County, that's all kind of middle Georgia. Okay. We call middle Georgia. That's kind of the region south of Atlanta, and Peach County is a little bitty county, kind of a farming county.
Very Mayberry.
Very Mayberry. Yeah. Yeah. I was up in New York City several years ago, and I told the girl behind the counter where I was that I was from Macon, Georgia. And she said, "Oh, I've been to Macon, Georgia." She goes, "That's country."
Yeah, to them.
To them, it's country. To us, it's city, and so it's all perspective, I guess. Anyway, so Peach County. So you went before the judge. The judge said, "Hey, Jesse, I know you want to go to an alternative sentencing here, go to Next Step, but I think you need to do some prison time." Sometimes the judges will do that. Sometimes the judges will say, I'm all for you getting help, but I think you owe something to society.
That's
first.
Exactly what she said. Yeah. That's exactly what she said.
Yeah. That happened several years ago. I'll just share this, Jesse, is we had a guy who came to Next Step, did a year, did really great in the program. I mean, just a model student, if you will. And when he graduated, he went back before the judge, and the judge looked at him and asked me how he did in the program. I said, "Hey, he did great, did wonderful. He was a model student, just did everything we asked of him, just impeccable." And the judge looked at him and said, "Well, that's great." He said. Then he looked at the young man and he said, "But you owe society something," and he sent him to prison for a year after he was with us. And I was like, the judges are looking at things. We want you to get help. Yeah. But at the same time, you do owe the people something, and there's that balance there.
That's definitely not something we're thinking about when we're doing it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So, when you're in the middle of committing the act, it's you're usually in your addiction.
And when you're in your addiction, you kind of have a one-track mind. Yeah. You're not focused on anything else but your next high.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where the devil lies too.
Chasing that high,
Yep.
chasing it. So you go before the judge. The judge says, Jesse, look, we're going to send you to prison for 3 years. And then you come out on parole.
Yep.
And what happened after that?
I came out on parole. I was out for 2 months, and you know, I was reaching out to some friends that I used to be friends with, thinking I'm, you know, I might be changed, but I slowly was starting to slip back into things that I was used to. It was just, you know, that's just all I knew up at that point. I didn't always grow up like that though, but that's what I knew. And me and my mother's boyfriend would be fighting a lot, and I think at some point, and then I failed a drug test and they wanted to sentence me to DRC.
Now, DRC, this is for the audience sake. DRC is a program run by the state in each county, and not all counties have DRCs, but a DRC stands for Daily Reporting Center, and what that means is daily you'd have to go report to probation, and you'd have to sit through classes, and you'd be drug tested, and there's heavy accountability, but then you go home. Yeah, you're not there overnight. And then you come back the next day, and then eventually you phase out and you can work. Yeah. And then you still have to come in though, be drug tested, still report in, and then you can go back to work. And that goes on for several months. Yeah. It can be very difficult to maintain that.
And I just knew that was not going to work for me.
Right.
I knew I wanted to change it though. When I was out on parole, even when I was in prison, I was like, something's got to give. I got to get out and do something different. I got to focus on doing what I'm supposed to and nothing else. But, you know, that's the devil. The devil had his hooks in me. And
so when you come the next step, with your mind is, I need to change.
Yes, I had my mind made up.
And that's critical, right? The critical piece of change for the addict or for anybody is, I've already made up my mind that I'm going to change. Yep. Now I need somebody to help me. Yeah. Because so many people come into a program with, I need you to change my mind. Right. And it's not going to work.
Yeah. And sometimes they're just going through the motions. Right. Now, I'm not speaking bad on everybody. You got genuine people. Sure. You got good people with you know, good intentions, but right. And it's not just Next Step. That's any rehab, really.
It's any job. It's any rehab. It's life, right? It's, you know, a lot of times we think in addiction that addiction is something different than the rest of life, and it is in a sense, but it's still the same concepts still apply. Yep. If I truly want something, I've already made up in my mind that I want it. Yeah. Now I just need to know, I need somebody to show me how to get there. Yeah. And so now Jesse has made up his mind that he wants change. And now he comes the next step and he says, okay, next step, show me how to do this. Yeah. And then it's a difficult path, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And a lot of it was my motivations, you know, and I think what was critical was being in the Word. It was being in the Word even when I didn't want to sit down and do it. Yeah. I had to. Right. You know, and you know, stuff like the journals and our devotions in the morning, those were critical to my success.
Yeah. So the athlete who says, I want to be a world-class athlete, or I want to get in shape, has to go exercise even when he doesn't want to.
Amen. Yeah.
So at Next Step, we're going to teach you, look, you got to do these things even if you don't want to. If you're going to change, you may not want to get up in the morning and get in your Bible. Yeah. But you need to. Yeah. You may not want to get up in the morning and clean toilets. But you need to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not going to get done. You've got to put in the work. If you really want to change the work, you've got to put in the work.
So you mean God's just not going to say, hey, Jesse, you want to change? I'm going to take it all away from you.
He already gave us our word. Yeah. We just got to open it up. Right. I've used this this metaphor before. Is that you know, God's always on the line waiting to talk to us. We just got to pick our phone up.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. God's always he never leaves. He never hangs up.
Nope.
Right. God
He's
never
there to talk
hangs
to
up.
us.
That's good.
Open up.
God never hangs up. He's always there waiting to hear from us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. And he's got so much for us in his word. And then you have teachers and mentors who are going to come along beside you and, okay, now this is what he's saying. This is what he means. This is how you apply it to your life. Yeah. Right. So that's what we're doing at Next Step on a daily basis. Oh, yeah. And this is how you work. And this is how you interact with people the right way. We don't have to fight about everything. We don't have to argue about everything.
No. And then, a lot of the guys and the mentors that I've found, that I've gravitated to, they've really challenged me in some ways I didn't think that, I could be challenged.
How did they challenge you?
Okay, well, Brandon Christie, he really challenges me on a intentional level, like, how I spend my time. We've been reading that book, Ordering Your Private World, and it's about how you spend your time, and he's pounding into me,
good
verse memorization, and it's great.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, so you got people, you've built relationships.
Yes.
With people over this past year and a half.
And accountability.
Yeah, you've built good relationships, because you're going to build relationships either way. You're going to build relationships with good people or people who are good for you.
Yeah.
Or you're going to build relationships with people who are not good for you. I'm not saying they're bad people, but they may be doing bad things. Right.
And I already saw how that went when I got out of prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. I'll share this. Sometimes you wonder, what are motivations for getting clean, right? I always say getting clean is a goal. Staying clean is a process. It's a system, right?
Yeah.
So if I want to run a marathon, 26.2 miles, that's a goal. Mm-hmm. But I don't just go run a marathon. I don't just get up one day and say, hey, I'm going to go run a marathon, 26.2 miles, and I weigh 300 pounds. And right, I have, the furthest I've ever run has been a mile. And then one day I'm going to decide to get up and run 26.2 miles. And no, so I want to run a marathon, 26.2 miles. I want to complete it. Well, how do I get there? I have a system that I develop, right? I'm going to run this many miles this day. I'm going to eat this kind of food. I'm going to make sure that I stay in shape. I'm going to make sure I stay hydrated. And over several months of doing that, I worked my way up to eventually meet my goal of running 26.2 miles, right?
Yeah, you definitely got to prep for that.
Yeah. So getting clean, right, is a goal. And I do certain things to get there.
Little things.
It's a system.
Yep.
My problem is when I relapse is I hit my goal. I've been clean a year and then I stop my system.
Yep.
So if I'm a marathon runner, I keep my system going to some level. Even if I'm not training for a marathon, I'm still keeping that system going. So if I'm going to stay clean, so getting clean is the goal, but if I'm going to stay clean, I got to stay with my system. Right. So that system is what you learned at Next Step. Right. And what we're, getting up early, getting in your word.
The foundations.
Right.
And that's really one of the key things that Next Step has brought to me is my foundation in Jesus.
Yeah.
Really is.
And then sticking to a system, because Jesus says to walk with him, abide with him. That's a system. Right. Yeah. He wants you to continue. So the system would consist of, if we could say, I get up early, I get in my Bible, I spend time in prayer, I prepare my mind for the day before the day begins. Because if I don't prepare my mind for the day, when the day starts.
And I've seen that after I graduated Next Step. I mean, if I start my day in the Word,
right,
like it seems like everything, my whole day just falls into place. I'm not hitting snags, but it's really how we approach those snags, or how we.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the attitude.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, attitude is everything, and that's what's been helping me prosper at work too.
So you're not saying what you're saying is, so I prepare my mind for the day ahead. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that bad things aren't going to happen. It just means when they happen, I've already prepared my mind. My attitude is different towards those things.
Exactly. Because if you wake up and you're just rolling out of bed and you're not getting in the Word and you're listening to all kinds of different crazy music on the way to work, it's not, your attitude's not going to be on point where it needs to be.
Yeah, that's exactly. So I'm preparing, again, the system. It's the system. Yep. So the system is, I get up, I prepare my mind for the day ahead with the Word of God, with prayer. I'm putting good things in my mind to start the day. Right. And then throughout the day, I am, the Bible says to do, I'm pray without ceasing. Doesn't mean I'm got my eyes closed all day, but I'm always focused on the Lord. Yeah. Right. And then I'm keeping myself in church. I'm keeping myself around good people.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That's what affects the heart change.
Yeah.
And the renewing of our mind. It's a daily thing.
Yep. Every day. So you got to do the system. you got to do the system every day.
Yes.
Right. So the system. So if I'm going to get clean, that's one thing. If I'm going to stay clean, Jesse,
yep,
it's a system. I can't
it's
stop doing it.
It's every day.
So a guy graduates from Next Step and he stops doing the system.
Yeah, that's the first, and that, from what I've told, that's one of the first things that fall off. And I'm not perfect. There have been days that I've woken up and didn't get into the Bible, and I've definitely felt the effects of that.
Yeah. So now you know, this is what this feels like. I don't like
this. This is what I need to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Same with me. I have a system. I get up, I go to the gym. I'm listening to preaching. I'm listening to the Bible. Then I get home and I read the word. I have a system. When I don't do that, I feel like, oh, something's wrong.
Yeah, something's off.
Yeah, something's not right. My day has started not right today. And so, so you get out of prison, you come to Next Step after you have a little bit of a slip up, right? From when you get out of prison, go home with your mom, not getting along with her boyfriend, fail a drug test.
Yeah.
You decide, I can't do the day reporting center. I can't do the DRC. It's just not going to work for me.
And I already knew it was going to work. So when I was talking to the supervisor, when he gave me DRC, I was like, look, I've been thinking about going to Next Step since before I even did prison, and I think it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
And he said, no, we're not doing that. We're going to give you DRC. And I was just like, so on the day I was supposed to report, I was on Next Step's front door.
Wow.
And I just let it all get sorted out later.
Yeah, that's good. Yes. I'll let him figure this out, but I'm going to Next Step.
Oh, man, that might get me into some trouble.
Yeah. You watch his podcast. What?
But
that's good. Well, yeah, so you showed up, and certainly, when your first week there at Next Step, what's that like?
Okay, well, let me begin by saying that out in the parking lot before we came in, me and my mother were cussing each other out. It was not a good. Our relationship was definitely a lot of tension.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you see us now, I mean, my mom comes to church.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing.
She loves you to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She always has, though. But it's just, it really feels good to be a spiritual leader in my family.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
Versus what you were doing.
Yeah, and see, because everybody else in my family, they were the spiritual leaders. My grandma, she was an angel of a woman. She was Catholic, but she, I know for a fact she's in heaven waiting on us.
Yeah, yeah. But now it's time for you to stand up and be that man, be that leader.
And that was another thing, is that I know that I can't repay any of the, the heartbreak, the just the disobedience with my family, and just my family always worrying about me. And this is how I'm repaying them.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm getting myself right.
Probably the best gift that you can give them is to continue to get better. I've said it on here before. We should strive to be better today than we were yesterday.
Yeah.
Be better tomorrow than we were today.
Yeah.
If we keep doing that, just a little better. You don't have to be worlds better, but just be a little better than you were. Get a little closer to God today than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
Be a little better person today than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
Be a little more loving today than you were yesterday, and keep doing that and keep doing that. And how are you going to go wrong with your life if you keep trying to get better?
Yeah.
Every single day. So so before you even walk in the Next Step, you're fighting with your mom, you're cussing each other out.
Yeah.
So you're walking in already with your mind's not in a good spot, but you settled in, you came in, you settled in.
Mm-hmm. My first week, I didn't really talk to anybody. Well, really, my first few weeks, I didn't really talk to anybody. I'm a reserved type of person anyway.
Right.
But I didn't really talk to anybody, but the biggest encouragement, the person who was the biggest encouragement to me there was Jacob Webster.
Yeah. Right.
And me and him would fight, argue.
Right.
Like, bad. But I love you, bro. Like, he really, I remember, I was struggling. We were at a Christian concert at the Macon Cineplex. We saw I don't remember who we saw.
Yeah.
Mercy Me was there.
Okay.
But I remember I was just struggling real bad, and man, he sat next to me and he didn't leave my side, dude. And that was awesome. And then I started seeing a lot of the camaraderie as I started opening up, and a lot of, when I was down, there were guys in there that pulled me up.
That's good.
But and not just Next Step, but any other rehab, you're gonna have people that aren't there for real.
That's
and
right.
You have to distance yourself from that.
I tell the guys that all the time at Next Step is, look, not everybody's here for the same reason.
Yeah.
Some people are there because they got to be there, don't want to be there, right? Some people come there, they think they want change, but then they realize change is hard.
Yeah.
And they decide, maybe this is too hard for me. We had 2 guys yesterday, 2 brand new guys just got here a couple days ago, and arguing and bickering and, about ready to fight. And I told one of them when we got done talking to the one guy, I said, you never know. I said, by the time you graduate from here, I said, that guy could be your best friend. I said, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Guys come in, they can't stand each other. And then months later, they're best friends. Yeah. So, it's funny how guys will, and that's guys sometimes though, right? Sometimes guys got to fight it out.
You stick 30 guys in a house.
Yeah.
Yeah. they all bicker.
Yeah. But then they love each other, and some of them become, the guy I hated yesterday. And as I told him, I said, you may not like him, but you got to love him.
Yeah.
You may not like him, but you got to love him.
Yep.
So you're there, you get there, you're there a couple of weeks, you're there a couple of months. Next thing you know, time goes fast. Once you get through the first 30 days at Next Step, and I tell every guy when he walks through the door, do not make a decision about anything for the first 30 days.
Yeah.
Because your mind and your body are going through so much rejection. The chemicals in your body are way off.
Yep.
And your body is trying to normalize itself, but normal seems abnormal to your body.
Yeah.
Normal to your body when you come in there seems abnormal because you've been doing abnormal for so long that abnormal seems normal.
Yeah.
And normal seems wrong.
I probably drank like 50 gallons of coffee that first month.
Yeah.
Just to get through it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And but once you get, time starts to click, boom, the days and they just go so fast.
Yeah. And you guys don't really have a whole lot of time with us.
Yeah. We want more than we have. And that's why I tell you better get everything out of this that you can get out of.
That's why it really helps to have your mind made up when you go in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because if not, and I say often, every guy that walks through that door, Next Step is a minimum of a 12-month program. Mm-hmm. Every single guy comes through there needs more than 12 months.
Yeah.
They do, because you have not put yourself in the position that you're in 12 months. It's been a lifetime.
Yeah.
And most of these men have been using or in some type of trouble or were on the long line since they were 12 or 13 years old.
Yep.
And by the time they come to us, they're 25, 30, 35, 40. You've been doing this for years. Yeah. And a year is just not enough.
There's a lot of subconscious things that are embedded in there too.
That's right.
I was going to say something, but I forgot.
When you think about it, interrupt me.
Sure. It was about getting into the Word. Is that knowing what God says about you is really what helps.
Yeah.
It was what really helped me. And I knew that's one reason I came to Next Step was for the education part. And you guys really don't have a whole lot of time with us. So when you have your mind made up, you're not gonna half butt it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we owe it to ourselves to really make a go at this. And anybody could do time. I could have spent another year in jail, but if I just chose to take this year long out for myself and really soak up everything that I could and give myself a chance to really change my life. And that's really what I came there for.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have your mind made up, it's a whole lot better because so much change. Yeah, there's going to be classes and counseling, but so much change is going to happen. You sitting down with God alone in the Word of God and battling with yourself, you and God working it out.
And it's real in the battlefield.
Yeah. It's a real battle. I've watched several guys that are just going through it, and they've been there now for several months. And, that first month they wanted to leave, they wanted to go, when I meet with them, we'll counsel, and they stayed. And you watch now, there's really significant change in their life because they decided, even though they wanted to leave in that first month, they made a decision.
Yep.
I'm going to stick this out. And now they're so glad they did, because they're seeing real change in their life. And then next thing you know, you're at your 6-month point.
And you're going to work.
And all of a sudden you're thrown out there to a world that you hadn't been in a little bit.
Yeah. And sin is everywhere. I mean, and it's easy to revert back.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember my first month or so when I started working, finding myself cussing like a sailor again, and I just
Yeah, because you're all around it.
yeah. I mean, you're in a shop full of mechanics. What do you think?
Yeah, what do they do? Yeah.
So
And the world is, I say often that while you're at Next Step, the world's not getting better, it's getting worse.
yeah,
So the world that you left when you came in the Next Step is only getting worse while you're here.
what did Silas used to say? The devil's in the parking lot doing push-ups.
Yeah, the devil's in the parking lot doing push-ups. He's getting bigger and stronger all the time. So,
That's silly.
yeah, don't remind me of him. I was just kidding. I love Silas to death.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so you get through the first 6 months, and you're battling through that first month's of battle. I often say the first month you're trying to decide whether you want to be there.
Yeah.
The third month you've decided everything and it's time to leave now because you figured it all out.
That happens a lot too. I've seen that.
Yeah. And then by the time you get to your 6th month and you go to work, you think you got it licked.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to work and something happens and you make a bad decision.
Yeah.
And by the time you hit your 9th month, you're just like, oh man.
But you know what? Having y'all behind us though, even through our failures in the program, because I've heard of, seeing friends who have gone through programs and they make one mistake,
They're gone.
They're gone, and I know that there's a line, right?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, like, we're not perfect, and we're here to get help.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and if we were already fixed, we wouldn't need the program, right? We wouldn't need.
Yeah.
If we were already going to do things the right way, we wouldn't need the Bible.
Yeah. We're all sinners.
Yeah. If God tells me, He warns me about things because He knows that's what I naturally want to do.
Yeah.
God warns us about so many things in the Bible. Why? Because He knows that's what we want to do.
He created us.
Yeah. If we were all okay, well, we wouldn't need Him. And so we need Him. I need Him. You need Him. Everybody out there needs the Lord. Because God made you, like you said, He created you. Mm-hmm. He knows how you operate. He knows how you tick. He knows what you need. He knows what your gifts are. He knows everything you need. And that means that we're not going to treat every guy at Next Step the same way.
Yeah.
I may, or Chris may, or between us, we may, if you mess up, we may, the consequence may be this one thing,
mm-hmm.
but the next guy does it and we may not really do anything to him because he's at a different spot.
Yeah.
And so, we got to figure out for each guy where that is. Each guy works his own program.
Yeah, and it's not just rehab, but everybody's walk is different.
Right.
Everybody's walk with the Lord is different.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and there are some things that we have no tolerance for, right?
Of course, yeah.
Some
You've
things,
got to.
Yeah, but then there's things that you're like, okay, but he's growing, right? The guy's he's got a great attitude.
Yeah.
Right. And so you really each guy is different. Each single guy is different in there. So you get through that first 6 months, you go to work. Like I said, you get to about the 9-month point and you're like, man, 3 more months and I can graduate, Yeah. And a lot of guys get to the point where they're almost like, I don't even know if I want to, I don't know if I want to leave.
Yeah.
They wanted, when they first got there, they wanted to leave. But then when they get to that 11-month point, they're like, I don't know if I'm ready to leave. I need the accountability. Yeah. I need the.
It kind of gets scary.
Yeah, it does. Because you're going to face that world.
Yeah.
And so that's where we say, hey, let's if you want to stick around in transition, right? You can stick around in our transition house. And there you have a little more freedom.
Yeah.
Still drug tested.
Yep.
Still expected to be in church. Still expected to be at meetings.
Yeah, but that's my pleasure, though. I like that.
And if you're trying to stick with the system,
mm-hmm.
you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Because now you want to keep that system. So we have guys who've graduated, right, and we're in the transition home, and they're now have graduated from the transition home, and are out on their own. Oh, yeah. So it's kind of this tapering, right? Mm-hmm. And they're still maintaining the system.
Yeah.
Might they miss a church service? Yeah. Might they miss a meeting? Yeah. But they're not missing meeting after meeting and church service after church,
Yeah.
Because now they're living in the real world and, I had to work overtime. I had to, I had to get the car to the shop. It's the only chance I had to do it or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but they're staying in touch. They're staying in contact. Hey, I'm not going to be there tonight. Hey, I'm not going to be there today. They're staying accountable. Yeah. And so that's what you want. So now, Jesse, you're you obviously you went through the first month, then the first 6 months, and then you got to go to work, and you're doing oil changes and tire changes and rotations, and what else are you doing over there?
Anything to do with batteries and stuff too. I mean, and I treat every car that comes in like it's my mom's car.
Yeah.
I'm looking for anything that might be wrong, and I'm upselling pretty good. And I think my second month there, I made Top Gun or whatever and I did the most sales.
Wow, good for you.
Good.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I'm really just being humble, and because I used to do this before when I was in my addiction too, and it was not good. I was working for a dealership, and I'm not saying this about all dealerships, but the politics, the in-house politics are not like. And the thing about Rathfield is they're a really good Christian company. They treat you like family. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome.
That's good. Yeah. Good environment.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're working now, Jesse. You're in the transition home, and I love your mom to death. I've gotten to know Rose so well, and she's just a great lady. And I know she's had some rough patches here lately. Yeah. And so what are your plans for the future? What are you looking to do?
Well, I'm just staying humble with my job and just I'm waiting on the Lord. That's what, you know how when you're in the Word a lot and God talks to you like that. And it's like the theme for this past month has been wait, because, I am kind of lonely. And so like, I'm in my 30s, I'm going to start a family soon. But I'm just waiting on whatever God has for me.
Good.
So, and right now I'm just serving. And even if it's not Bible studies with the guys, I at least, I go check on them, and I want to make sure that, they're good, and just being a light to my family.
So while you're waiting, you're still doing.
Yes.
You're not just waiting.
No.
You're not just sitting there. Okay, Lord, I'm waiting. No, you're waiting on the Lord, but you're still serving. Yeah. You're still doing. I'm still praying. I'm still in the Word. I'm still working. Yeah. Right? I'm looking. Yeah. So
I've got goals, I just, they can't be accomplished right now. And a lot of us, we've taken time out from our lives so long that we want things to happen right now, and we compare ourselves to a lot of people that we grew up with, and we're seeing that we're not where they are.
Right. Don't compare.
And I'm really trying, you know what I mean?
Yep, that's good. Do not compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to the Lord.
That's the
Wait on Him. Wait on Him.
Yep.
He'll show you. He'll show you. Man, that's great. Jesse, it's been great talking to you today. Anything else you want to share before we end? Anything, if there's a parent out there who says, I got a son who's struggling with addiction, I got a daughter, if there's a loved one, what would be your advice to that family, that loved one, to say, hey, this is what you need to do?
Okay. You just need to be behind them, support them. Don't enable them, but just support them and be there for them. Let them know that you need them in their life, because we can't let the devil steal any more of our years from our family and our friends that really need us around.
That's good. Thank you, Jesse. That's Jesse Kinney. Appreciate him so much. Thank you for joining us today on the Next Step More Than Recovery podcast. If we can help you in any way, you can jump to our website, www.nextstepmen.org. You can get in touch with us through there. These podcasts are usually loaded up onto our website as well, so you can see other episodes of our More Than Recovery podcast. Have a great day.